Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast. I'm Peng Qian.
Hello everyone, I'm Chan.
Hello, I'm Chan, and today we'll be discussing the issue of race as it emerged of the 1858 debate between Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas. In this famous debate, Lincoln and Douglas argued about the important issue in their campaign of the Illinois Senate. We will be introduce you to the background of this debate and the point of contention.
The Lincoln-Douglas debate took place in 1858 when they were both candidates for the Senate of Illinois. The debate touches some key issues, particularly around slavery and black rights.
Lincoln thought slavery was an inhuman institution that should be abolished. He believed that slavery violated the fundamental rights of blacks, including liberty and human rights. Lincoln cited the phrase, "All men are created equal" from the Declaration of Independence, arguing that slavery violated that principle. Douglas advocated the principle of democracy that each state should have the right to decide whether to adopt slavery, not the federal government. He believed that the Constitution protected the sovereignty of the state, so the federal government couldn't interfere with the slavery of the states.
The view of these two politicians represented two different positions in American society at that time, and they were also one of the two main factions in American society at that time. Lincoln represented the anti-slavery views, and he took a strong stand against the slavery and expansion in the debates. Douglas represented a post-slavery view against that each state should have the rights to determine his own destiny, include whether to adopt slavery.
We also found separate analyses of the debate and Lincoln by political scientists, historians, and one of the students at Northwestern University based on the controversy.
The United States dealt with a major racial issue including slavery and racial discrimination in the mid 19th century. Lincoln showed extraordinary leadership in addressing the issue. Political sciences model argues that Lincoln's strong stand and strong leadership of black emancipation laid of the foundation of the racial equality in the United States. In addition, Morella explains Lincoln's approach to management, which he calls the spirit of 76. The core principle of this approach to leadership was to preserve the unity of the nation by maintaining the value and ideas in the face of challenges. Morella argues that in the face of civil wars and slavery, Lincoln would maintain the nation unity by staying true to his principle and the political adaptability. Lincoln's political views placed a great emphasis on the equality of all individuals. Lincoln advocated the defense of individual liberty and the equality of rights of all people. In this debate, they argued about the expansion of slavery. The issue was directly related to the value of the freedom and equality. Lincoln argued that if the expansion of slavery was not stopped, it would threaten the basic principle of freedom and equality. These principles were the foundation on which America was built.
First, let's be clear. All men are created equal. No matter what race we are, we should all be treated as equally important and valuable individuals. However, the truth is that race issues often lead to inequality in society. The next point I want to make is about slavery. According to history, Harold House analyzed the debate between Lincoln and Douglas revolved around the highly controversial issue of slavery at the time. Lincoln argued against slavery, considered it immoral, and advocated limiting its expansion. Douglas, on the other hand, believes that the states should have the right to decide whether to practice slavery.
The Declaration for the Emancipation of Negro Slaves affected the entrance of the Civil War from at least three aspects. First, he solved the problem of the legitimacy of the war, because in this war, the North was unreasonable, and launching a war to maintain the Union was simply an unconstitutional conduct. The emancipation of slaves gave the war a higher degree of justice, and the North could even claim in turn that the slavery maintained by the South itself upheld the spirit of Constitution. Second, on the diplomatic front, Britain, the largest customer of the Southern Carton, seriously considered mediation. But when the declaration was issued, everything changed. British workers launched several rounds of strikes in solidarity with the abolitionist movement in the North. Marx also sent a letter to Lincoln on behalf of the First International and encouraged him to fight to the end. This made the Civil War more than an American Civil War, and the North gets a higher international prestige. Finally, the Declaration's successful mobilization of blacks was the fatal blow to the social fabric of the South. You must know that the total population of the South at that time was only 9 million, of which 3 million were slaves. When 1/3 of the society's population is mobilized by their enemies, failure is already a matter of decision. These reasons led to the fact that cotton in the South had nowhere to sell internationally and it had to bear high war expenses. Coupled with the large number of slaves fleeing to the north and the stop of food supply in the West, the economy of the South began to collapse irreparably. This is not only a highlight of Lincoln's astute political mind, but it's also an example of how race issue affect every side of the war.
The issue of race in America was the most important cause of the outbreak of the Civil War. If the expansion of slavery not stopped, it would threaten the basic principles of the freedom and equality. Even after the end of the Civil War, the U.S. government abolished slavery through the Constitution.
However, even now, racial and historical problems still exist in the United States. And if they are not properly addressed, they will have a profound impact on the social, political, and economic stability of the United States.
This is why it is so important to address the issue of race. It requires the combined efforts of government, society, and individuals. That's what we want to talk about today, and thank you for watching.